Have you ever been impressed by a high quality video that you saw online and you thought, man, there's no way I could ever film something like that? Well, I used to think the exact same way until I learned these 5 easy tips that I'm about to share with you. So they're game changing and it's going to instantly help your video quality content. So stick around for all 5 tips and let's get right into it. The first one is going to be learning how to lock your focus and your exposure. The iPhone is already programmed to automatically try to focus in for the depth field, whether it's close to the camera or further away from the camera, and focus in to get the best quality closest to the lens. So when you put on the focus and you lock it, it can actually just keep the focus initially of where you want the object to be based on the depth of field. So if that doesn't sound too complicated, it's really just best to lock your focus where you know you're going to be shooting. So if it's really close to the lens or if it's really far away from the lens. And the second one's going to be the exposure level. So I automatically will always lower the exposure level so that my photos or videos don't get overexposed, and that's going to immediately help you control that level of light coming in through the lens, and that's going to already make your videos look 100% better because the camera's not going to try to fluctuate that while you're filming. The second one is that if you haven't already changed the settings on your iPhone to 4K from the 1080p that is usually preloaded on the phone, then all you need to do is go into your settings and make those adjustments, and you can actually just change it to where it's going to now show 4K when you go to film, and you can change that to either 60 frames per second, 24 frames per second, or 30, just depending on what you're filming. 24 is going to give you more cinematic feel, but the 60 frames per second is going to really help it smooth out if there's a lot of fast movement. Third is going to be using the rule of thirds and messing around with camera angles. So if you haven't heard about the rule of thirds, it's basically like a tic-tac-toe box, and you normally want to line up your subject on one of the crosses where it intersects. And so that can be an object as well, a landmark, or something significant in your video or your photo. There's tons of great articles online, and there's lots of photos out there and examples of how to use this, but it's a general rule and sometimes it can be broken. I would actually recommend to break it once in a while, but you should also know just the basics of it because that's something really easy to learn, and it's really not too hard to grasp the concept of how to start shooting that way, and it will make some of your photos or videos easier. The other thing is that camera angles can also help by adding dimension to your videos. So one example is going to be if you take your camera and you position it lower to the ground, it's automatically going to make your subjects look bigger. And so if you're going to do something like that, it's going to add more of a power image to the character, opposed to if you're shooting something far away and you're wanting to shoot like a landscape video, then you're going to probably do your wide angle camera lens, and you're going to actually just capture more things, like whether that's like a sunset or a mountain view, and that's going to actually be interpreting more of where you're coming from as far as setting the background for an area. The fourth one is going to be stabilization. A lot of iPhones nowadays have built-in stabilization that is way better than what it used to be, and you can actually accomplish a lot just by holding your camera just like this with both hands, and that's going to automatically give you more control, and it's going to make it less shaky when you're shooting video, because the more you can stop doing this and you can just go like that, it's going to increase the level of how your cinematic your videos really look, and that really does help change things. The next thing is you can also pick up something like a gimbal. I use the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. I love this thing. It can do a lot of great things. I have a full unboxing on my channel if you'd like to see that, and there's going to be that'll be in the description box below. So it's a great gimbal. It can do a lot of great things like a spin shot, or it can even do time lapse. The fifth thing is going to be using those preloaded filters on your iPhone. Go onto the iPhone. There's some pre-made filters on the phone for videos and for photos, and you can do things like sepia, black and white, vivid, and you can also adjust the settings manually. So you can go into brightness, you can go into shadows, you can even add vignetting. So those are 5 quick tips that will instantly change the way you start filming video. If you want a more in-depth tutorial, then let me know and I can go over the iPhone native camera app in more detail, how to do features like slow motion, time lapse, and even going into more on how to use the filters and what settings and where you'd like to use them. But if you also watched the whole entire video, please hit the subscribe and like button, and we'll see you in the next video.